My husband's friend, Mark, had been around our house for years. Barbecues, birthdays, casual drop-ins to check something for my husband, he was always there. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. The way his eyes lingered when I walked past. The half-smile that came a second too late. The comments that sounded like jokes but landed like tests. "If I were your husband, I wouldn't let you out of the house," he once laughed. My husband chuckled it off. I didn't. Over time, the discomfort stacked up in quiet ways. Mark always chose the seat that gave him the widest view of the room. He volunteered to help with things that didn't need help. When I'd catch him staring, he'd quickly look away, like I was the one who'd done something wrong. I tried subtle boundaries, short answers, keeping my distance, but he treated them like challenges, not warnings. The night it shifted for good was unremarkable on the surface. My husband texted that he'd be late from work. Mark had already messaged, asking if he could come over to watch the game because his cable was out. I stared at my phone longer than necessary. Something in me felt tired of shrinking, tired of pretending. I replied, "Sure. Come by." Before he arrived, I moved through the house with a strange calm. I adjusted the living room, closed the curtains, dimmed the lights the way he always seemed to prefer. I set out drinks, not because I wanted to play hostess, but because I wanted everything to feel normal. Disarming. Predictable. I made sure my phone was fully charged and placed carefully on the side table. When Mark walked in, he acted relaxed, like this was just another easy night. He joked about my husband running late, about having me all to himself to talk sports. He sat back on the couch, confident, stretching out like he owned the place. Every so often, his gaze flicked toward me, measuring. Waiting. He thought he knew the rules. He thought he knew me. The game played for a while, crowd noise filling the room, but I wasn't watching the screen. I was watching him. The way he leaned forward when I crossed the room. The way his smile tightened when I ignored him. At halftime, he said something casual, "You always notice when someone's looking at you, don't you?" And laughed like it was harmless. I smiled back, slow and even, and picked up the remote. "I've got something better to put on," I said. The screen went black for a second, then lit up again, not with sports, but with grainy footage from our porch camera. Mark frowned at first, confused. Then recognition hit him. There he was, standing at our door weeks earlier, adjusting his jacket, glancing around before ringing the bell. His face drained of color. Before he could speak, the video changed. Hallway footage. Another day. Him walking behind me, eyes tracking, lingering. The angle caught everything he'd assumed no one saw. His laugh died in his throat. He sat frozen, hands gripping his knees. I stayed quiet. That was the hardest part, and the most powerful. I let the footage speak. Each clip was time-stamped, ordinary, undeniable. Not dramatic. Just real. The room felt smaller with every second, the air thick with the weight of his own behavior reflected back at him. He tried to interrupt once, a weak "I didn't mean," but his voice cracked and faded. The screen showed him glancing into rooms that weren't his, standing too close, smiling at moments that weren't jokes. He wasn't watching for pleasure anymore. He was watching himself unravel. When the last clip ended, I paused the video. The TV glowed softly in the silence. I turned to him then, finally meeting his eyes. He looked like someone who'd just realized the story he'd been telling himself was a lie. "You seemed interested in watching," I said calmly. "So I showed you." The front door opened a moment later, my husband's key in the lock. Mark stood up so fast the couch shifted. He couldn't meet either of our eyes as he stammered excuses, grabbing his jacket, mumbling about needing to go. My husband looked confused, then concerned, then serious as he took in the scene. Mark left without waiting for a response. The door closed behind him with a finality that felt earned. I sat down, heart pounding but steady, knowing something important had changed. I hadn't raised my voice. I hadn't accused. I had simply let him see exactly what he wanted to watch, and exactly who he was.